A woman shares her story narrowly avoiding a falling platform. A community rallies together for 3 families impacted by a house fire. And how a boy's quick thinking saved a woman and her mother.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. It could have been a lot worse on Tuesday. An elevated scaffolding platform crashing down onto the street below in downtown Regina, resulting in 2 men suffering non-life-threatening injuries. But if it happened maybe just a few seconds earlier, a BC woman visiting her husband working in the city would have been directly under the collapse. Jacob Carr spoke with her today about the traumatic experience.
Johnstone had a near brush with disaster on Tuesday. That afternoon, her near 6-month-old son Teo was ill, and as Johnstone was loading him into the family car to head to the hospital, she narrowly avoided a falling brick caused by a collapsing scaffolding platform from several stories above, all captured on the vehicle's dash cam.
It's time-stamped, so you can see that my door is just about to be closed, and you can see the shadow of things that are falling, and it's in that same second. And that messed me up more than anything.
Johnstone says after what happened, it is hard not to believe in some sort of divine intervention. But at the same time, the incident has left her paranoid and on edge. She says she immediately thought of the Final Destination movies where one cheats death and then is subsequently hunted by it afterwards.
I'm not gonna lie, that's not what went in my head. Like, I didn't leave the apartment yesterday. I was like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm good. I feel like I need to take a second.
Johnstone also can't shake the thought of playing through what-if scenarios, saying Teo could have been left without a mother.
A foot back or a foot forward, a second later, and it could have meant somebody dying, and that changes all of our lives. And I just think whoever, cut corners for whatever happened is really lucky that nobody died or got seriously injured.
CTV News reached out to the scaffolding company whose trucks were spotted during the cleanup of the incident and was told they have no comment. The incident is being investigated by Occupational Health and Safety. Construction was underway Thursday afternoon to fix some of the brickwork damaged in Tuesday's incident. And while the building will be repaired for Johnstone and her family, she says some of the mental wounds from their near brush with death might never fully heal. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
3 families in Fort Capel are without a home after a blaze destroyed 2 houses earlier this week. As a result, small town Saskatchewan is banding together once again. Sierra D'Souza Butts tells us how the community has stepped up through various online fundraisers.
When leaving her store Tuesday evening, Jackie Juba and her coworker noticed smoke coming from a residential home.
We just saw like a bunch of black smoke coming from down the street, so we went running down to see what was happening.
While walking towards the house, Juba says she saw familiar faces lending a hand to help put the fire out.
It seemed like people were already taking charge of making sure somebody was out of the house, and just as the fire was spreading, making sure that person in the next house wasn't in there. I know some people broke the door down to go in and make sure that the owner wasn't there because his car was there.
On Tuesday at approximately 6 p.m., crews from the Fort Capel Fire Department responded to a call about a residential fire on Pasqua Avenue South. The fire started in one house before slowly making its way next door.
When we arrived, there was fire coming from the roof of the house here, and it had spread to the wall of the second house. So we started to extinguish, trying to save the second house first.
Although still standing, he says both homes are heavily damaged. Seeing people from the area help out before the fire crew's arrival was heroic, Sarbish says.
We had a report of one young man that actually went into the burning house to make sure that everyone was out, but he was gone before we arrived.
With 3 families living in the first house and another living in the second, residents are doing their part to help.
I feel very grateful also to be in this community, to see that, knowing that if something was to happen to anyone else, that there's people here that actually step up and make a difference.
The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. In the meantime, the community is supporting the families impacted through online fundraisers and donation drives. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Fort Capel.
Well, not all heroes wear capes. A 7-year-old boy in Saskatoon is being recognized for his bravery after warning his neighbors about a house fire. As Stacey Hine tells us, thanks to the boy's quick thinking, a woman and her 91-year-old mother were able to escape the home safely.
Jace was playing in his front yard when he saw flames at the house next door. The 7-year-old got someone to call 911, then ran 2 houses down to warn his neighbor, Connie Seibel, about the fire.
And me and my brother shot it together, and I went and told the lady.
Why'd you go and tell the lady?
Because it's a big fire.
The fire, which is still under investigation, broke out around 7 p.m. July 29th in Saskatoon's Mayfair neighborhood. Seibel says she was surprised to hear a knock at her door that night. It was Jace there to warn her about the fire.
He said, "There's a fire next door." And I said, "What?" And he just said, "There's a fire next door." So I went out and I looked and went, "Oh yeah, there's a fire next door."
She says the house on fire next door was vacant, but the flames eventually spread to her home. Thanks to Jace's quick thinking, Seibel and her 91-year-old mother, who has limited mobility, were able to get to safety.
It's amazing what kids have learned or will learn or have been taught, and how automatic that they kick into action when they have to.
Others in the neighborhood were also impressed by Jace's actions.
It's just great to hear that kids are still willing to go out of their way to make sure people are safe. It's always good to know that there's still a Spider-Man looking out for the community, right?
As his neighbors recognize his bravery, Jace says he feels good knowing he was able to help. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
All right, let's go to Sabine now in our weather center to take a look how things are shaping up. And we are going to see rain, but it's mostly going to be in the eastern to southeast part of the province tomorrow.
Yeah, it's now tracking. I mentioned yesterday, too, we were seeing it track more into Manitoba. It's continuing to head further into that province. But we still will see quite a bit of rain coming through the southeast. And that is expected to start tonight into all day tomorrow. I'll talk more about that coming up in your full forecast. Temperature-wise, we will also see a bit of a drop. Today, we were a little cooler than what our average normally is, which is about 26 degrees. Warmed up to about 22, 23 late this afternoon. But as we continue to see that temperature cool off tonight, dropping to about 12 degrees, we'll see it only warm up by a couple degrees tomorrow for many parts of the province due to that low pressure system that's coming in from the south. But then the warm up returns by the weekend, and I'll have all the details coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sabine. As Canada and the rest of the world look for stable, reliable sources of energy with goals of a zero-emission future, demand for nuclear power continues to grow. And a new Saskatchewan mine has the potential to fuel that demand. Allison Bamford is in northern Saskatchewan, where construction has begun on what could become one of the world's largest uranium mines.
I'm standing at what they call the heart of the operation. This is where the production shaft will be built, and once operational, could move 30 million pounds of uranium ore up from the ground every year. And it's where Next Gen Energy officially broke ground on its Rook 1 project today. Officials calling it a major step in bringing what could be one of the world's largest uranium mines online, helping secure a clean, low-cost fuel source for nuclear energy. Construction here comes at a time when global demand for nuclear energy ramps up. Ottawa has big aspirations of expanding domestic generation and global exports. Canada is already the second largest uranium producer in the world. Currently, all of the country's uranium is mined from this region, the Athabasca Basin in northern Saskatchewan, and officials say this new mine will add to the global fuel supply.
This is Saskatchewan, part of Saskatchewan's contribution to Canada becoming an energy superpower. Saskatchewan, today is about 20% of global supply of the fuel for that clean nuclear power globally, and it's projects like this that are going to increase Saskatchewan's global presence in that space. space and going to increase the global presence and opportunity for those that live in northern Saskatchewan as well.
The process of developing a new mine takes time. Exploration at this site started in 2013. Final approvals for construction happened in March, and just now they're breaking ground. Construction is expected to last over the next 4 years, and operations are slated to begin in late 2030. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Patterson Lake, Saskatchewan.
Well, it's been 1 year since Saskatchewan returned American liquor to store shelves, while other provinces maintained the ban. That was a response to tariffs from Donald Trump. Now, the government wanted consumers to have a choice, and it appears they are choosing non-American options as U.S. liquor sales have declined significantly in our province. Wayne Mantika has more.
The Saskatchewan government may have decided to return American alcohol to store shelves, but consumers are making their own decisions. The SLGA reports that sales of U.S. wines and spirits declined by 40% in the last fiscal year. Still, retailers defend giving consumers a choice.
It's worked out pretty well. We really want to make sure that the customer has the option to purchase American liquor if they want. We have had the wine section decreased quite a bit. There's been a lack of demand for the U.S. wines, especially the California wines, and we've expanded the Canadian wines as a result.
Declining sales of U.S. wine has prompted the co-op to reduce shelf space and allocate more for Canadian product. However, demand for American bourbon remains strong because there are few alternatives.
So we had a few occasions of customers coming in and buying a full case of Jack Daniels or Jim Beam. Those are the more popular ones. So yeah, that was a strong sign for us that the product is still in demand. So we need to keep stocking them.
In a written statement, the Saskatchewan government said it is up to consumers to determine if they want to purchase U.S. produced alcohol. Keeping American liquor on the shelves has not won Saskatchewan any favors when it comes to Trump tariffs. Tariffs are imposed on the nation as a whole, but it could count for something when Saskatchewan producers go looking for new American customers. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Small businesses are facing uncertainty as the wave of this trade dispute with the U.S. continues. According to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, 2 of every 5 of its members say they will be directly impacted should the threatened 50% increase of tariffs follow through next week. The organization, which represents small businesses, says up to 75% of owners are preparing to have revenues impacted should the tariffs go into effect. CFIB adds this recent tariff threat is creating anxiety among the small business community.
There's many Saskatchewan businesses who've had to make tough decisions where they can. They've pivoted to alternative markets outside of the U.S. or looked to domestic partnerships within Canada. But it's been difficult. And, many have had to simply absorb the cost of these tariffs or they risk losing their trade deals with their U.S. partners. So they don't have a lot of wiggle room.
Solberg is hopeful Ottawa is able to find at least an interim deal with Washington to ease the pressures on small businesses. Longer term, CFIB is pleading for governments across the board to reduce taxes on such businesses to ensure their viability. A Moose Jaw restaurant is facing major fines after it forced a foreign worker to pay a fee for their job. Guac Mexi Grill in Moose Jaw pleaded guilty to 1 count of charging a foreign worker a fee or expense for employment. It's a result of an investigation into allegations a worker was required to pay $12,000 to keep his job, with their continued employment being a condition of their pathway to permanent residence. As a result, the restaurant faces a $5,000 fine, a $2,000 victim surcharge, plus were ordered to repay the victim the $12,000 back. Well, back in May, the Kinsman Foundation of Saskatchewan alerted donors that they suffered a cyber attack with some personal information possibly being compromised. As Keenan Sorokon found out 3 months later, the charitable organization is saying the data breach was worse than they thought.
Telemiracle is one of the most iconic events in Saskatchewan, raising millions of dollars for medical equipment, travel, and patient care every year. But a cybersecurity breach in April meant hackers gained access to the personal information of donors.
A lot of this will end up on the dark net, the dark web, and it can be used by bad actors to gain money in some way.
The breach is worse than Kinsman initially realized. On Wednesday, the Kinsman Foundation said it completed its investigation into the third party that accessed its systems, adding, "We now know that for an additional group of individuals, social insurance numbers and health information that were required to process grant applications were also affected." IT expert Gareth McKee helps train and protect companies from breaches like this and has even brokered deals with ransomware hackers. He says the most likely way these things happen is an employee clicking on a link they shouldn't have.
And then accidentally downloaded something. That's where the main danger is.
He says more often these bad actors are avoiding large companies with millions of dollars spent on cybersecurity and going after charities like the Kinsman Foundation, who may have had vulnerabilities.
An organization of any size, whether it's a one-person company or it's 200 people, should be getting specialist advice.
Kinsman says it is sorry and is personally contacting everyone affected by this. Kinsman is working with TransUnion Canada to offer 1 year of complimentary credit monitoring.
Closing the gate after the horse has bolted. There's not a lot that these organizations can do once the data's out there.
Kinsman says it is reviewing and strengthening its security systems to help prevent something like this from happening again. Keenan Sorakhan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Well, some people in Regina walked the red carpet this afternoon while learning more about the impact of local charities. Nearly 100 community-based organizations from across the province gathered at Connexus Arts Centre for the Saskatchewan Community Foundation's 4th annual Friend-Raiser event. The showcase highlights the work of local charities, from grassroots community programs to province-wide services. Guests also get the chance to connect directly with charities, donors, and volunteers to see how millions of dollars in grants translate to support on the ground.
This is such an opportunity for the community to come out, learn about the charitable sector, learn about all the good things happening right here.
Ziegler hopes the event inspires more people to get involved and support local charities across Saskatchewan. Still ahead, Canadians that suffered life-changing effects from the COVID-19 vaccine share their stories in Ottawa. And BC officials reopen a highway leading to the evacuation zone of a wildfire. Well, years after the COVID-19 pandemic, a small amount of Canadians who rolled up their sleeves are still suffering from adverse effects. A Conservative MP is striking an informal inquiry on Parliament Hill to hear their stories, though as Rachel Aiello reports, there are concerns this forum won't be able to provide the kind of accountability that some are hoping for.
Like millions of other Canadians, Carrie Sakamoto got vaccinated for COVID-19. But unlike most, after her second shot, she was hospitalized, diagnosed with Bell's palsy, suffering ever since.
I'm not anti-vaccine. I have questions about this one, obviously, because of my experience.
Now she's hoping one MP's unofficial fall inquiry will give her a place to put her story on record.
Our job is to listen.
Conservative Dean Allison is planning to lead 4 days of sworn testimony focused on COVID-19 vaccine injuries. But his initiative isn't sanctioned by the federal government and has no power to prompt accountability. The most this MP is able to offer is that once the hearings end, he may refer questions for Parliament's consideration.
By raising awareness, we're hoping to put pressure on the government.
81% of Canadians have received at least one dose of an authorized COVID-19 vaccine. And as of January 2024, of the more than 58,000 reports of adverse events following these vaccinations, less than 12,000 were considered serious, representing 0.01% of all doses administered.
When you look at the vaccination currently, based on the best data we have, the vaccination still does a reasonable job in reducing the risk of hospitalization and death.
During the pandemic, Ottawa launched a vaccine injury support program. Between 2021 and 2025, 252 claims were approved, paying out more than $21 million in compensation. But claimants like Carrie say the process was mismanaged and mired in red tape.
We need immediate accountability, and reform.
After an audit this spring, the Public Health Agency overhauled the program and is still sorting through a backlog of claims. This doctor says a vaccine injury compensation process Canadians can have confidence in is key.
I would call it part of our social contract.
Canada hasn't conducted any formal review of how COVID-19 was handled nationally. This country's chief science advisor and others think the government should reflect on its pandemic response in an evidence-informed way.
We're seeing vaccination hesitancy rise absolutely everywhere.
But Allison isn't planning to include testimony from pro-vaccine voices, prompting critics to question the inquiry's intent.
Anybody who believes they've been affected by taking a vaccine deserves to be heard and deserves compassion and support. The problems with what Mr. Allison is putting forward is that it's based on the premise of an official inquiry, but it's not.
The hearings are happening on the Hill September 8th to 11th. MPs from all parties have been invited to sit in, but so far the inquiry only has the support of Conservatives. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Wildfire situation is rather subdued here in Saskatchewan. That is definitely not the case in BC. One fire in that Okanagan region is being held, but another continues to burn out of control. That fast-moving blaze near Summerland has forced the evacuation of more than 20,000 people from their homes, and it's not known when they will be allowed to return. But the highway that runs through the evacuation zone has been reopened on a limited basis from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. E-bikes and e-scooters are proving to be a bit of a hazard across Canada, especially to children and most notably those under the age of 16. An extensive study involving a large group of pediatricians shows that 10 kids died last year, 6 of those in Ontario, and then there's those who were seriously injured. Paul Hollingsworth breaks down the stats and why doctors are raising the alarm.
Cyclist Lindsay Wickstrom recently witnessed an e-scooter accident involving a youth.
He went down, boom, and he wasn't moving.
Wickstrom says it serves as a lesson that young people should not be riding e-scooters in downtown Halifax.
We got transport trucks and all this traffic here. This is not a safe place for anybody young to be e-scootering.
We have said shouted from the rooftops, no one under 16 should be on these devices.
Dr. Daniel Rosenfield has authored a new report showing e-scooter and e-bike accidents in 2025 resulted in 10 deaths. Of the 48 cases of serious injuries or deaths reported, 47% were head injuries. Broken limbs accounted for 40%. Most of these cases involved e-scooters, which have become more popular, accessible, and affordable in recent years.
These are not toys. They're functionally motor vehicles without any of the safety features that cars or other motor vehicles have.
E-scooter safety awareness is on the rise in Canada. Justin Trudeau's 18-year-old son apologized after a promotional campaign showed him riding without a helmet. Carl Norton works on the Halifax waterfront and sees hundreds of e-scooters every day.
I definitely do not agree with the young people being able to use them.
And how often does Norton see kids without helmets?
All the time. I see very few of them with their helmets on. They have their helmets attached to the e-scooter, but they're not wearing them.
Dr. Rosenfield said teaching people to properly use an e-scooter is crucial, and that starts with urging people to always wear a helmet. The majority of severe injuries for e-scooter users are head injuries, and they can often result in a permanent disability. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
And we have some new video of an eruption at one of the world's most active volcanoes. Lava could be seen spouting out of the Kilauea volcano on the big island of Hawaii, the mountain located at the state's Volcanoes National Park. The eruption started early yesterday with lava spewing from the north vent. Residents have been told that volcanic ash could be carried downwind depending on the conditions. The volcano has been erupting on and off since December of 2024. Still ahead, a man from New Zealand takes a tour of Canada by canoe.
University of Regina is gearing up for Back to Class. Friday on Your Morning, we're in conversation with President Dr. Jeff Keshin about what you can expect in the fall semester.
All
right, welcome back. We're going to take a look at your forecast heading into, well, gradually approaching the weekend anyway. Still a beautiful day in the Queen City. We've got some folks out on Wascana Lake taking advantage of the beautiful temperatures because it still is nice out. 23 degrees in Regina. That is the warmest we got to today. But other areas like Saskatoon did see a significant drop in those temperatures, going from 23 to about 15 as the rain arrived up in that area late this afternoon. Now, we do have rain on the way, but not as much as what we were first expecting to come through. I've looked at about 4 or 5 different models, and all of it is saying that we will see quite a bit of rainfall coming through the southeast. There's a slight chance we could see a little bit more rain in and around the Regina area, but as of right now, it could be up to about 5 millimeters once this system is completely cleared out, and you'll actually see what's coming in just a second. Now, this area was a little bit broader when we were first taking a look at these special weather statements, and that was conditions favorable for the development of funnel clouds. Those are expected to clear out later this evening. This weather statement, again, no watches or warnings. This is due to the rainfall that's expected in the southeast, up to about 40 millimeters of rain, 20 to 40 millimeters, but some localized areas could see more than 60 millimeters of rain. And that is, of course, starting tonight all the way into tomorrow evening as this system makes its way into the southeast there. So we still have that system overnight around the Saskatoon area bringing rain that way, and then this low pressure system coming in from the south as well will bring more of that rain. So again, originally this system was supposed to be traveling further up north. Now it's tracking all the way into Manitoba. So a slight chance we will see some rain in the Regina area, just not as much as what we were first expecting. I'll get out of the way before someone gets mad. And then we're going to continue to see that rain throughout Friday along with that cloud cover before much of it by Saturday morning makes its way into Manitoba, leaving us with a mix of sun and cloud conditions to start your Saturday morning. And then throughout, we will start to see a lot of that clear out, leaving us with sunny, clear conditions throughout most of Saturday into Sunday as well, with those temperatures starting to warm up once again as well. So Friday, tomorrow, just as we saw Saskatoon's temperature drop a little bit this afternoon, we'll see similar stories as we take a look at what's to come for tomorrow. 17 for La Ronge and Prince Albert, 18 for Lloydminster, 18 also for North Battleford, Saskatoon, 16 in rain for Yorkton, the southwest. Similar story, all expecting to see the temperatures in the mid to high teens just for tomorrow. 17 for Weyburn, Estevan, 18 for Assiniboine. For Regina tonight, 14 is the expected low, warming up to just 17 degrees, expecting some of that rain throughout the day. And then we see that gradual warm up by Saturday, 21 and a mix of sun and cloud. By Sunday, though, we're back into that average daytime high territory. 25 and a mix of sun and cloud Sunday, 25 and a mix of sun and cloud on Monday. There is a slight chance we could see some scattered precipitation Sunday evening, but other than that, we're looking at those warm temperatures back again. So Tuesday, 20 and a mix of sun and cloud, mainly sunny. Wednesday, 23 degrees. Thursday, 26 and mainly sunny. No storm activity expected for the Regina area, at least not this week. Just a little bit of that scattered precipitation.
Scattered precipitation, which is good because we're going to talk a little earlier about the crop report, and there are some, the soil started to dry up a little bit in some areas, but overall, I don't mind a dry condition for a little bit in Regina.
Yes. Also, if you were watching yesterday evening at the end of the show, lightning does not shake the ground. It's like a sonic boom. It's a vibration if it hits the ground. That's
good vibrations.
That's right, Lee.
Thank you, Sabina.
Bye-bye.
I'm glad you cleared that up from yesterday. A New Zealander has wrapped up a canoe journey across a massive stretch of Canada from Alberta to Quebec. Tom Hudson set out to document his adventure about this country's wilderness, but he actually found so much more along the way. Jean-Viet Beauchemin explains.
Along a solo adventure through the Great White North.
What a surreal moment. My first few paddles.
Tom Hudson discovered Canada's landscapes, but postcards of human nature shaped his travels.
Canadians, I tell you what, I freaking love you guys.
Hudson's journey began years before in New Zealand.
I worked in construction, I had a house, I had a mortgage, and one day I woke up with my alarm to go to work, and at that moment it just hit me very, very hard. You're not following your heart. Let's go. I sold everything. I sold my house, I gave all my things away.
And he found joy from the Rockies to the East Coast in the most Canadian way, paddling a canoe.
You hadn't canoed before?
No, never canoed before in my life. I wanted to do something that I've never done, and then I wanted to do it in a big way.
The wilderness proved majestic but fierce. On the fourth day, he capsized.
Help me! My whole canoe went down the river. There was nothing I could do about it, and it was just me standing on the bank with nothing, just wet clothes.
And then he met Josh and his family camping nearby.
He's wet, he's cold. Let's get him in a dry set of clothes.
And I thought I was going to showcase nature and the landscape and fishing, and but really what I showcased was how incredible the Canadian people are.
Hudson traveled 216 days over a couple of years, chronicling his journey on YouTube to finance his travels. He was running a little low on money, passing through Manitoba, thinking of pausing his journey when he came across Ivy, a 14-year-old lost dog stuck in the mud. He brought Ivy along and found her owner further along the river.
You silly old dog.
Now, that moment captured the hearts of many, drawing followers, and so saving Ivy saved his journey.
Everyone was standing along this wall.
On the 216th day, he paddled into Old Montreal, his destination. He was welcomed by followers, but also by some of the Canadians he'd met along the way. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Still ahead, despite a limited amount of game footage on Hamilton's quarterback Harrison Frost, the Riders' defense is confident they can keep the Tiger Cat caged up. Riders held their final full practice today before Saturday's showdown in Hamilton. Running back Quali Conley is questionable after experiencing a bit of a hamstring issue. Canadian Thomas Bertrand-Houdon and American star Thomas, they could handle the rushing attack if Conley can't go. Now, the Riders do know it's going to be rookie Harrison Frost starting at quarterback for the Ticats. Frost threw for 239 yards, a touchdown and an interception in his first ever CFL start last week, a loss in BC. The Riders have been looking at video of Frost during his time in the UFL while understanding the tendencies of the Ticats offense.
As a defensive player, you're always reacting off what the offense do. But for us, we understand what our defense is. So, the concepts are similar with the teams that we're playing, no matter what the quarterback is, who's in there. So understanding what they like to do, what they like to get to, and, just watching film and playing our keys.
He's been entrusted with the job and the ball in his hands each play from a coach who obviously has had tremendous success in this league and has worked with some really good quarterbacks. So, they feel that he's the best option. We have to operate as we're getting, again, a better version of that team.
Riders will announce their game roster tomorrow, and the game goes Saturday, 5 o'clock on TSN. Riders also signing an American receiver today, and no, it was not Eugene Lewis.
It's football. Do you go to the same play? No, they'll go to the end zone. Looking for Owens, back corner. Caught for the touchdown.
Rashad Owens, former Oklahoma State Cowboy, spent the first part of this season on the Stamps practice roster. Also spent 2025 training camp in the NFL with the Cincinnati Bengals. In 5 seasons with Oklahoma State, Owens had 120 receptions for more than 1,700 yards and 10 touchdowns, including winning the 2023 Texas Bowl MVP honors. Well, it was a historic WCBL season for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. They won 41 games. That's a franchise record. They broke several individual marks, including Thomas Soto, setting a new league record for stolen bases with 49, destroyed the old mark. But last night, their hopes of a second ever title were derailed as the Saskatoon Berries had all the juice in the East Division final.
With Nathan Houston now up. He'll hit this one back up the middle, base hit. 1 run in. Rounding third and coming home is Nick Stinson. He'll score it.
Yeah, the host Berries scored 5 in the third inning and held on for the 7-4 victory, earning the franchise's first trip to the league final in just their 3rd season as a WCBL team. Nick Stinson led the way with 2 doubles and 3 RBI. Moose Jaw's Garen Plummer went 3 for 4 at the plate in the loss. The Berries will play Sylvan Lake in the final. The Gulls upset the top-ranked Okotoks Dogs in 2 straight. Game 1 goes Saturday night in Sylvan Lake. Game 2 Sunday in Saskatoon. And almost a historic day at the Wascana Country Club for the Canadian Junior Boys Golf Championships. Ottawa's Michael Vivone and Series Tiger G shot a 7 under 65 today. That ties the course record set by Wascana Country Club member Ryan McNall 3 years ago. Vivone leads the way heading into the final round tomorrow at 16 under par. G is 14 under par. Saskatchewan's top performer is Saskatoon's Ryan Mosier. He's tied for 17th at 4 under par. Saskatoon's Ericon Franklin 3 under par, and Pilot Butte's Austin Nesbitt is even par. Still ahead, cooler temperatures delayed the harvest for some Saskatchewan farmers.
Let's take a look at your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. It's going to be cool and rainy and a little gloomy for some areas like Melfort, 16 and cloudy and rainy, just like Spiritwood, 18 and rain for Watrous and Outlook, Kindersley 18 and cloudy, and Lloydminster 18 with a mix of sun and cloud, 20 and cloudy for Hudson Bay and rain for Wynyard at 16 and Meadow Lake 17 and rain there. Closer to the southern border, same story, a little heavier rain expected in the southeast, not so much in the southwest. Cloudy and 19 for Maple Creek, 17 and cloudy for East End Cypress, 18 and rain for Rockland, Assiniboia, Rosetown, 19 and rain for Leader, 17 and rain for Pilot Butte. It's raining all over with those temperatures expected to be in the mid to high teens for pretty much all across Saskatchewan tomorrow, including St. Walburg, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel. It was a gloomy day today in St. Walburg as well, warmed up to about 16 degrees. Tomorrow, 16 as well, expecting up to about 5 millimeters of rain throughout the day tomorrow, with the winds up to about 15 kilometers an hour.
While Regina is taking a different approach to encampments this summer, allowing people to stay in a city park, people living outside in Saskatoon are wondering whether they could see the same kind of approach there. As Carla Shinkaruk reports, tents are dismantled in Saskatoon regularly for safety reasons.
Along 20th Street between Avenue L and M in Saskatoon, dozens of shelters have been set up, including one belonging to Alberta Nelson.
It's a stressful, it's stressing. It's, it's put a lot of, I don't think more about housing, I think about more where I'm going to go.
Nelson is aware of developments in Regina where the city has provided porta potties for people living at Pepsi Park in the Heritage neighborhood.
That's all we want is the basics, that's it. What's wrong with that? Why kick us out? We got no place to go.
This sign nearby asking them to vacate, something Nelson says occurs about once a week. Regina officials have also said they're not planning to tear down the tents in their park. Cassandra, who did not want to be identified, says Regina has the right idea.
Saskatoon should do the same. Every other major city has what they call a tent city, and I think that they should do the same here. Like the shelters fill up really quick and we've got nowhere to go.
When asked whether this is a possibility in Saskatoon, Mayor Cynthia Block said this.
The data is quite convincing that we should be very careful about allowing that type of way for people to live in our city if we know that it's going to cause harm.
Tents are often set up near the Central Urban Métis Federation building on Avenue M. The president understands the concerns as they dealt with increased drug dealing last summer.
We saw 70 to 100 tents all around Comfy. We experienced a lot of violence that we never had the year before.
She says this year is better than last, thanks to increased supports. They provide showers, food, and health care or addictions help. Back at the encampment, Nelson plans to start a petition calling on the city to allow tents to stay up. A difficult task, but the plan is to use resources at the library to get started. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Weather provided some good news and bad news regarding crops around the province. The bad news, it did slow down a harvest for some farmers with just 2% of crops out of the ground. The good news, it helped maintain decent crop quality in areas that are plagued by the hot, dry conditions. Now, rain in the next 2 days will help topsoil moisture. Currently, 48% of cropland topsoil moisture is considered adequate. 43% is considered short. Hayland topsoil moisture is 49% adequate, 42% short. Pasture topsoil moisture is 39% adequate, with 60% being short or very short. Winter cereals are the furthest along when it comes to harvest, with 18% of winter wheat and 27% of fall rye out of the ground. How about the market prices for canola? Well, the street price is up $6.50 to $751.55 per ton. The futures price is up a little more than $10 to $803.50 per ton. Amber Durham wheat, no movement, $272.48 per ton, while Red Spring wheat dropped by 34 cents to $284.21 per ton. Feed barley, $203.59 per ton. We did see a drop in flax yesterday by about $20. It's at $610.54 per ton. Price is courtesy of Bunge and Ice Futures Canada. Stock markets both going up today, not by a lot though. The TSX went up 97 points, the Dow Jones by 69 points. The Canadian dollar up 0.03 cents to 71.80 cents US. Commodity front, gold up 17 cents. West Texas Intermediate crude down $2.02, and Western Canadian Select crude dropped by 19 cents. And right now, gas in Regina at most places you can find is $1.62.9 cents per liter.
After closing at record highs the last 4 trading days, the Toronto Exchange managed to top that again today. This morning, the TSX reached a new record high and then further topped that to close the day. The fresh records are being driven largely by a domestic jobs boom, soaring crude oil, and investors piling into big banks and gold. Meanwhile, the S&P clocked its own milestone, hitting an intraday high of 7,816 points. It was a milestone fueled by cooling U.S. inflation data and a second wave of adrenaline for the AI infrastructure trade. And Canadian Tire logged a surprise win today, posting a 10% jump in quarterly profits. Total revenue edged up to $4.3 billion, beating estimates. But under the hood, it was a bit of a mixed bag across its retail banners, which include Sport Chek and Mark's. Sport Chek saw a jump of 8% in comparable sales, fueled by the World Cup. However, the core Canadian Tire business saw shoppers pulling back on non-essential items, including in the gardening and patio segments. Those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
Tonight after the newscast, we have a couple of big bangs followed by a couple of children ruin everything, then Traders Canada, then Big Bang. This does seem familiar to Tuesday, doesn't it?
I'm not saying, but
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, maybe we're just running things back. Sometimes you don't need change.
But sometimes change is good.
Right. Like us switching spots.
This is throwing me off.
It's a good day. Well, to be honest, any day is a good day to eat ice cream, but today is Dairy Queen Miracle Treat Day.
That's right. 100% of the net proceeds from every blizzard sold in Saskatchewan is going to the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital Foundation. This is the 24th year of the annual fundraiser. It supports research in pediatric equipment. The last Miracle Treat Day in Saskatchewan raised $282,000 directly supporting the 83,000 kids and moms to be who visit our children's hospital.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Tasty.
Do you have a favorite?
You know what? I think I'd keep things simple, and we just go with Oreo. But birthday cake as well. When
That's fancy. Mint Oreo, all the way.
Morio.
A Morio, that's right. Well, someone in the United States is holding a lottery ticket worth $1 billion, with a B, billion dollars.
That's a lot of money. Last night's Powerball draw ended a 3-month stretch without anyone capturing the top prize. The winner can choose, you get an annuity of $1 billion. They pay that over 29 years, or you get a lump sum right now of $450 million. It's not clear if the lucky person has come forward yet, but we do know the ticket was bought at a gas station in Western Illinois. The odds of winning 1 in 292 million, and you win $1 billion.
Well, would you take the one-time lump sum, or would you take it over 29 years?
No, $1 billion is a lot of money, so I'd almost want to just take this lump sum and just...
No, you would not.